You are surrounded by people, conversations, laughter, notifications, but something inside you stays silent, a silence no one hears. At night, the room feels larger, the light is low, the phone feels heavy. You scroll through old messages and wonder where it all was lost. You try to be strong, you try to look independent, you say you're fine alone, but your chest knows the truth. It's not the absence of people, it's the absence of inner rest. Your mind never shuts down, it is always expecting loss. You love too carefully, you give before feeling safe, you smile not to be a burden, and accept less to avoid being left. What if this loneliness isn't bad luck? What if it isn't rejection? What if your mind is trying to protect you from what you haven't dared to face yet? What you feel is not weakness, it's not drama, it's not emotional exaggeration, and it's not lack of faith. Your pain has logic, it has roots, it has a story, and it has a name. Napoleon Hill noticed something essential. The mind creates realities from fear. It anticipates loss, builds abandonment scenarios, and begins to live in constant alert. Even when everything seems calm, even when no one has left, the danger already lives inside. When the mind fears loss, it doesn't seek love, it seeks control. It seeks invisible guarantees. It seeks signs it won't be left. And every silence becomes a threat. Every distance feels like rejection, even when it isn't. So you start loving differently. You love with excessive caution. You walk on eggshells. You adapt too much. You watch every move, read meanings that aren't there, and reshape yourself to fit, always fit. You give before feeling safe. You give too much, too soon. You explain too much. You forgive too much. You tolerate pain, you silence discomfort, you swallow boundaries just to not lose. The mind calls this protection. It believes suffering early hurts less, that expecting little avoids the fall, that attaching quickly prevents abandonment. But this brings no peace, only vigilance, only tension, only loneliness. That's why you feel tired. It's not the relationship, it's not the other person, it's the invisible effort. Always alert, always adjusting, always expecting something bad. Even when nothing happens, you are not broken. You weren't born this way. You didn't choose this. You were trained by fear, conditioned by past experiences, by unresolved losses, by unexplained goodbyes, by old silences. When you understand this, something begins to shift. Guilt loosens, shame softens, because it's not a flaw, it's a learned mechanism, and everything learned can be transformed. But this awareness doesn't shout, it doesn't invade, it whispers. It asks for pause, for honesty, for courage, because facing fear directly is the first step out of it. You start to notice a repeated pattern, different faces, similar stories, the same ending, promises unfulfilled, presences that don't stay, and you always trying to understand, always trying to fix something. It wasn't bad luck, it wasn't coincidence, it was unconscious repetition. Love. The mind seeks what it recognizes, even when it hurts, even when it causes pain, especially when it hurts. You feel drawn to unavailable people, emotionally distant, confused, wounded, because chaos feels familiar, because absence sounds known, because silence doesn't scare you. It reminds you of something old. Without realizing it, you try to fix, to save, to hold what can't be held, to carry what isn't yours. You confuse love with effort, intensity with connection, urgency with bonding, and lose yourself in it. There is always hidden hope. This time will be different. This time I'll be enough. This time they'll stay, and you give more. You silence yourself more. You shape yourself more, until you disappear. When the other pulls away, the pain feels familiar. It doesn't surprise you. It confirms something inside. I always stay. They always leave, and the cycle closes. You don't notice when it begins, only when it ends, when emptiness returns, when silence weighs, when the room feels large, when the question returns, what's wrong with me? And guilt settles in. But here is a crucial point. This didn't start now. It wasn't born in the last relationship, nor the one before. This pattern is old, very old, created as defense, to avoid abandonment. Your mind repeats to try to resolve, recreates the scene, changes the characters, but keeps the script. It believes a different ending will heal the old wound, but it only deepens exhaustion and delays awakening. When you see this clearly, something hurts, but something becomes clear because the problem isn't loving or feeling deeply. It's loving to repair the past, and that never works. Never. If you're still here, something inside you has started to awaken. Maybe for the first time, your pain finally made sense. This channel exists to walk with you through that process, with truth, depth, and faith applied to real life. Click the button now and subscribe, not to consume more content, but to stop walking alone while learning to choose yourself. Some healing begins the moment you decide to stay. Over time, this pattern takes a toll. Not all at once, but slowly, in silence. You wake up tired, even after sleeping, even without major conflict. Your body feels it first. You begin to empty out. You don't notice when it starts. Only the absence later. Joy fades, spontaneity disappears, laughter becomes effort, and loneliness gets a name, an identity. You start defining yourself by it. I'm just like this. I always end up alone. Relationships aren't for me. Pain becomes narrative. Narrative becomes belief, and belief becomes destiny, or seems to. You abandon yourself to keep the other. You silence desires, delay boundaries, ignore signals, all to not lose. But you lose something bigger. You lose inner presence. You lose yourself. Emptiness begins to echo, even in company, even in long conversations, even in shared beds. Nothing fills, nothing rests, nothing stays, because it doesn't come from outside. Then you try the false solution, loving more, giving more, pleasing more, being more understanding, more patient, more available, more exhausted. Or you do the opposite. You close off, overprotect yourself, build walls, pretend indifference, say you don't need anyone, but your heart feels and waits. Neither strategy heals, not giving too much, not shutting down completely. Both are born from fear, and fear doesn't build connection, only reaction, only defense, only distance. This is where it hurts most, but also becomes clear, because you begin to see none of this is love. It's emotional survival, dressed as care, dressed as strength, but still a cage. Healing doesn't start with another person. It doesn't begin in a new relationship, nor in future promises. It begins with small interactions, almost invisible, but deeply decisive. Actions that shift the axis from outside to inside. The first action is slowing down, not the body, but emotional giving. You stop giving before feeling safe. Stop over-explaining. Stop proving worth. You learn to observe before opening up. This isn't coldness. It's self-respect. It's allowing time, letting the other reveal consistency. Real alignment presence between words and actions, without rushing, without urgency. The second action is naming boundaries. Even with fear, even with a trembling voice, you say what you feel, what you need, what you no longer accept, not as a threat, but as truth. Boundaries don't push love away. They filter, protect, organize connection, and reveal intention. Those who respect, stay. Those who resist, reveal themselves in silence. Not with someone else, but with yourself. Without filling emptiness with messages, without numbing the silence, without escaping feeling. You remain, even when uncomfortable. The mind resists at first. It wants to repeat, to rush, to attach quickly. But you breathe, observe the impulse, and don't obey it. For the first time, each conscious choice rewires the old pattern. You don't change everything at once, but you change direction. You leave survival and enter presence, and something begins to align. Inside, this healing is quiet, not euphoric. It's stability, a subtle peace, emotional dignity. You feel less urgency, less fear, more ground. And even when loneliness appears, it no longer rules. It visits, you listen, but you don't abandon yourself. Because now you know, staying with yourself is also love. Hey, if you got distracted, pay attention. Come back here now. What comes next is the most important part. Don't skip ahead. Don't overthink it. Stay. Up to now, you explained it with your mind. You understood the pattern. You recognized the fear. But something still feels missing. Because the pain isn't only psychological. It touches the soul. And the soul also asks for answers. On another level, God doesn't enter as a quick fix, nor as a ready-made phrase. He enters as presence, silent, constant. While you try to control everything, he waits for you to let go, just a little. Loneliness was not punishment. It wasn't divine abandonment. It wasn't God's neglect. It was interruption, an invisible break, to stop you from losing yourself further, even without understanding, even while it hurt. You searched for safety in others, for guarantees, for rest. But God never placed that in people, because people fail, change, leave, even when they love. There is an ancient proverb that whispers this: trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will make your paths straight. It doesn't say it will be easy. It says you will be guided, even without seeing. You tried to figure everything out alone, analyze signs, predict endings, avoid loss. But faith begins where control ends, where you admit, I don't know, and rest. Maybe God allowed the emptiness so you would stop running, begging, shrinking yourself, so you would learn to stay, not in someone else, but in him, without rush. Loneliness revealed something sacred. You were searching outside for what could only be born within. Peace is not the absence of people, it's the presence of meaning. And no one can take that away. When it comes from God, it stays. Here the pain changes place. It doesn't disappear, but it transforms. It becomes message, direction, invitation. Because maybe God didn't take love away. He took you out of an illusion. You didn't arrive here by accident. Every loss pushed you forward. Every silence woke you up. Every lonely season slowed you down. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was pure mistake. Everything was a path, even when it hurt. A sign you thought something was wrong with you, was punishment. But now you see differently. It was protection, a limit imposed by life. When you couldn't impose one yourself, it was God closing doors to save you. The mind learned through fear. The soul learned through emptiness. And now they finally speak. You understand the pattern, and you understand the purpose, not to justify pain, but to free you from it. With awareness, you no longer need to run, or prove, or reshape yourself, or beg for presence. You learn to wait in peace, to choose calmly, to listen to real signs. Without urgency, love now changes place. It starts within you, in your dignity, in your respected silence, in your firm no, in your conscious yes. And that changes everything, everything. You may still be alone for a while, but not abandoned, not empty, not lost. You are whole, learning to stay without betraying yourself. Loneliness doesn't vanish, it transforms from enemy into teacher, from pain into signal, from punishment into preparation. It no longer screams, it guides, gently. Now you understand. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You didn't lose love, you gained awareness. It wasn't delay, it was maturity, disguised as waiting. And when someone arrives, they won't complete you. They will walk beside you. Because you already found yourself, already chose yourself, already respected yourself. And that changes destiny forever. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to our channel right now. Here, you won't find shallow advice, but clarity, depth, and faith applied to real life. Each video is a step out of emotional confusion and into awareness. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Stay with us. If you reach the end of this video, write in the comments, "I choose to stay." This is an act of awareness, a quiet commitment to your soul, and the promise is simple. Those who choose themselves no longer walk lost. God honors decisions made in silence.